Okay, Mikael. So really have enjoyed the series we're doing on Bible 101 or Bible Primer, based on the work of Roger Hathaway, of course, and also Arnold Kennedy, two greats in the identity theologies of what are we saying? Christian Israel, Christian, the way, the truth. So you said, Mikael, you had a question from some of your listeners.
Yes, I had a question regarding when we was in the last show, we used the word blue bloods, Edomite blue bloods, and I also sometimes maybe you have probably told me this before, but it's worth repeating that in Europe the kings and queens were referred to as blue bloods, and they, we know, came from the tribe of Judah. They were the kings and queens. So why use the blue bloods Edomites? A short little question I got from one of my listeners.
Yeah, so let me just give a little bit of a background. Blue blood refers to, in actual, I guess you would call it anatomy, it refers to blood that is copper-based. That the normal person's blood is iron-based, and that's why it's red, hemoglobin. But the blue bloods, which are actually a bloodline from reptilian hybrid or fallen angel seraph hybrid with mankind, the mixing, they have what is termed blue blood or copper blood. And it's well known. I mean, the Merovingian bloodlines, the TV shows over here in the United States, there's a TV show called Blue Bloods, and they're telling you that these are the Nephilim hybrid first, second to 10 generation offspring that are running our world. They're the tares. The blue bloods are the tares of the world. Now, and they are a result of fallen angel seraph in particular, race mixing or interbreeding with mankind. And many people call those the Nephilim, but I'm just being a little more technically specific. And so the hybrid tares of fallen angel mankind are tares, Nephilim, and they have blue blood, copper-based blood. Colonel SC and I had some discussions, and if I could find them one day, I may post some of this. But for those out there, I'm not posting a lot of my SC stuff because the world doesn't need that, and it's stupid. Why kick the dragon in the teeth? But I will kind of post the knowledge or the wisdom nuggets that we benefit from it. And one of them is, one time he was at one of these underground locations, and there are reptilian hybrids down there, there's giants down there, there's all kinds of evil. You have to sign a form. You won't ever use the word Jesus Christ, even in anger, in these locations, because that name alone, the name that every knee shall bow, in fact, causes all these evil entities of nefarious kind, fourth kind, to really lose themselves. So, but one time he was down there, and when you're down in that kind of intense environment, you have to, it's difficult. And so sometimes he was a guard. He was a very high-level guard. They called them the, I'll get back to that. But anyway, high level, he was in Delta Force, for those of you that know what that is. And he was in the restroom one time. He saw reptilian in one of the stalls, and just for the heck of it, he just shot him, because that was his job. He was allowed to get away with anything like that. And it just bled blue blood. It came out bright blue and then turned green when oxygen hits it. That's called the blue bloods. They are really alien hybrids, fallen angel hybrids among us. Now to your question about the kings, we have to be a little careful on that, Mikael, because while it is true you can trace the lineage of the kings to Judah, they race mixed in the mix. In other words, there will be very few, if any, rulers of this world today that are not blue bloods, and that all that means is, you could. It's kind of like in the New Testament in the Gospels, where the Pharisees were saying, "Well, we've come from Abraham, Well, technically that was true if you traced it all the way back. They came through Esau, but Esau started race mixing with the fallen angel offspring hybrids. These blue bloods we're talking about right away. So once he race mixed, they no longer had. They no longer had pure blood kind code. It was infected now with fallen angel, the death code we call it. The virus of death, the fallen angel code, which in fact puts a blue blood component into their blood, and now they might have mixed blood, and that's where we get in the book of James, I believe it is, a double-minded man is unstable in all that they do. That's where you get it, because it's blood kind. Each blood kind can host a spirit kind, and so if you have blue blood, you host demonic spirit kinds. If you're a red blood, you host either holy prodigal son and daughter spirit kinds, or you can even host some of the holy angels that fell but still have redemptive opportunity. But the blue bloods only host fallen angels with no redemptive opportunity, which are pure demons. So I want to make sure the kings of England and other locations today are blue bloods, even though they could technically say they have been traced to Judah. Does that make sense, Mikael?
Yes, for today, the kings and queens mostly, I also believe they are being mixed out, because those Edomite, they always, they graduate toward the higher realm. So that will be the kings and queens, and how they infiltrate those people and they race mix with them. They send their daughter, whatever, and also with the aristocrats. That's why they also probably are mixed away with those Edomite, having Edomite blood, that then would translate to blue blood, and that comes from the copper. And then when you said something I thought about, when you say that the blue bloods hit and come to the oxygen, and that would transfer to green color, is that a reason? Because I read somewhere, I don't remember where, that one of Lucifer, Satan's favorite color, is not red, it is green. Is that the same color?
Well, I never heard that, but it makes perfect sense, because we have red, white, and blue on our flag. We're representing the spirit white light, the red blood of Adam, and the blue, which represents the celestial stars of all of our kindred. I would not be surprised at all if they venerated the color green, because that's the color of their blood when it hits oxygen. The color of our blood is red when it hits oxygen. And as far as, I forgot to answer your direct question, why do I say the Edomite blue bloods? Well, because we don't want to say certain words will get flagged. We don't hate anybody, and it's also a big error to broad brush any racial, ethnic, or religious group. You just can't broad brush them all as good or evil or whatever. That's just not correct. But because the blue bloods have race mixed and intermixed in all of these groups. But we know that Jacob I loved and Esau I hated. Well, that was because Father God, or Jesus the Father, knew the timeline that Esau was on, and that he was going to race mix and sell his birthright and race mix into the forbidden tree of good and evil, which is a tree of racial fallen angel lineage, genetics. He was going to mix with this tree of good and evil, which was the original sin, by the way, which we're all under judgment for that. And when Esau race mixed with the Hittites, a few others, he polluted or infected his bloodline permanently. And so from that point forward, he picked up the blue copper-based blood code set of the fallen angels, and as well as other triple helix issues we haven't talked on before, but that's also part of the infection. There's an additional code set. Some call it a triple helix. Now, I want to be clear, there's a holy triple helix too, outer court, inner court, and holy of holies, but they counterfeit it all in a mirror, in a glass backwards, seen through a glass dimly. They mirror everything. We're a projection of. So when you mirror something, it reverses polarity in the light spectrum. This is physics. So if it's right-hand spin, then when you hits a mirror, it comes back left-hand spin. And that's also how we know what's genuine and not. That's another subject. So the Edomite blue bloods are, in fact, the offspring of Esau when he married into the people of Edom, the location of Edom, called Edomites, and they were mostly Hittites and fallen angel offspring. That put the blue blood code and the triple helix code of the nefarious kind into their offspring, and they are the seed of the serpent that the seed of Adam is at eternal enmity against. Mikael?
Yes. That describes, that answers the questions why that is used, because the other, as I said, there's stuff you get flagged for. They are not even true. They are just made up words. So then it's better to use what they really are instead. That is Edomite. That is the best I've come up with to describe them.
There's other blue bloods other than those that lineaged through Edom, but the Edomite blue bloods are the royalty of the dark side, if you want to call it, because they had a lot of Adamite code from a true Adamite lineage with Rebecca, I believe it was, and Jacob. So Rebecca produced and Jacob produced Esau. Correct me if I'm wrong, Mikael, because I get some of those names confused, but I believe it was Rebecca and Jacob produced Esau and produced Jacob and Esau. It was Rebecca and Isaac that produced Jacob and Esau. So Esau had holy seed. Esau was pure, but it was his offspring that they still carried the mitochondrial. Actually, they even carried some of the paternal holy set, but they bred in. Like, you have to look at it this way. It's a little complicated. You want to follow paternal lineage for blood kind, but maternal mitochondrial influence is where you get the infections from. You also get a lot of positive things, so I don't want to make the ladies seem like, because we all had the mitochondrial in us, but so Esau married 2 Hittite females. He picked up the mitochondrial code, which includes some of the blood code for the blue bloods. And so let's say Esau had 2 men and 2 women offspring from the Hittite ladies. All 4 of them now are infected with mitochondrial serpent seed, but the males still contain the Adamite code because they're males in the Y chromosome. So because of that, but they're infected with the mitochondrial of the serpent seed. They still, however, can host a fallen angel, and that's why I'm going to be getting into this, time permitting, so people pray for me. But it's important to understand that that's where you get hope for a lot of the fallen angels. It also is a foundation on why all of the other subraces in their heritage and their culture know they want to breed in with the white race. Because if they could breed in with the white race, especially their daughters, they pick up this Adamite code, and it helps their future offspring have possibility for hosting a angelic host that can be redeemed. So this is never stated, but that's what's underlying all these cultures. They just know they need to breed in with the white race.
Yeah, that is when I thought about this. We shouldn't eat blood, and that is because life is in the blood. That is, as you said, the children, he gets the mitochondria from the women, and from the man he gets the blood. That is where the life is, and that is so the white Adamic blood comes from the man. That's why you can get when you get this, I guess, this quantum entanglement when white man mixes with something that is not Adamite, so you get quantum entangled.
Yeah, indeed. In the light domain, because our DNA's primary function, contrary to what you've been told, is a light transceiver, a scalar light, a spiritual light transceiver. And it is true that even that's why most people don't know why Abel had to be killed, because Cain was the offspring of Eve and Lucifer when he indwelt the reptilian hybrid Gadriel, spoken about in Enoch chapter 69, I believe. So Cain was in there with serpent blood of the devil in the same womb with Abel. There's a name for this, fecundational twins. There's a name where a female has twins from 2 separate fathers. Well, that's what happened with Eve. And I'm not going to argue with the people that don't understand that Genesis 4:1 is extremely messed up. The text is compromised to a significant degree. So that people, you're either going to see it or you don't. And we've been over that many times on many shows. So Cain was a child of the devil, literally, and Abel was a child of Adam and Eve. But by what you just said, Mikael, their DNA was quantum entangling in the light domain. Their blood wasn't actually, even their blood was mixing, because it's my understanding that the embryo or fetus blood can mix, not with the mother's blood. Eve didn't get infected by the mother. Not a drop of the mother's blood passes through her embryo, folks. So, but the two twins were quantum entangling, and so Abel actually got imprinted. We talk about this on the last show. He got imprinted with a code set in his spirit code, not in his flesh and blood code, but in his spirit code. And so he was also not qualified to be the lineage that God would use later. So that's why Abel actually had to be killed. And that's why the word, Adam and Eve had Seth, and the word Seth in Phoenician, or the original language, means the replacement, the one who is replacing Abel. So over to you, Mikael.
Yeah, so Abel was quantum entangled with Cain, so that would make him, he wasn't pure, to put it a more, I don't know, that's what I get, because they have been, so then Seth was replacement. So that very good, Professor. That answers this the question I had very good. So I hope that this will answer my listeners' question as well. Professor, do we have something more here on the pre-show, or should we go into today's show?
Well, this week I just want to let everyone know. Of course, we don't share our personal details to the world, but we're all under various attacks, and I praise Jesus Christ, my King, because life is a faith test, everybody. A lot of you are struggling with various issues. Well, Mikael and I struggle with issues too, and without going into detail, I had some major issues come up this week, but I knew Jesus, my King, was going to get me through it like he has every time. But at the time, they always seem like, from our perspective, there's no solution. I'm not going to dwell on it, but Jesus the Father came through. Let's just put it that way. He came through, and I thank all of you for your prayers. Keep them up, because Mikael and I are on the front line. But appreciate that. Prayers work, and Jesus, my King, and your King is real. Mikael?
Yes, and the prayer of a righteous man avails much. And something also with the prayers, even if we feel that we have won a bit of the battle, is also, this was something I listened when I was listening to Bobby. We have to continue to pray. We need to be 100% victory, not just 70 or 80% victory. We need to have 100% victory. That is a promise as well. So even if we have gained something, we should be able to get 100%. That is also important to remember. Yeah,
that's called the faith zone. I always say, if you have 1% doubt, God and his holy angels step back, because 1% doubt is kind of like just a little bit of sin. It really is. You have to have complete faith, and it's an exercise. But you know what? We all can do it, because I've done it. I'm not saying I walk in 100% faith all the time. I don't. But when I do, I know it. You feel it. It's called the faith zone, and my gosh, you could literally change the universe.
Yes, we have to walk in faith, and that is sometimes it's sometimes difficult, but that's just and that also when it happens stuff in, as you said, this personal. We don't dwell on the personal here, but same for me. Stuff that I sometimes feel is this is tricky or whatever. I have a hard time to get out, but Jesus Christ gets you out of it. He does. He will do. And same with. Sometimes it could be so small stuff that we mention stuff to our colleagues and friends, and then they maybe say, no, never. But what will happen the next day or someday after? It did happen. And that is this. I think I read that in Samuel's, that the words from God's people, they turn out to be true.
Oh yeah, it's when people ponder the meaning of life, I mean, it's really, I do it all the time. Is think about the fact that you even exist is beyond comprehension. Okay, so it's not a question of wonder of evolution over billions of years and blind chance. That's my gosh, that's a spirit of rebelliousness, because you just look in the mirror and any sane individual will bow in humility at the awesomeness of the creation, including the fact that you even exist. And when that continues to, Ariana was saying last night, she was even crying how she fathomed the unfathomableness of Jesus the Father. She says he's just so awesome and so amazing, and when those waves of focus come upon you and you just fathom the incredibleness of our King Jesus Christ, it really lifts you up, because it's not an issue of wonder, it's not an issue of belief, it's an issue of knowing Jesus Christ is God. There's no doubt about it. The scriptures are correct as far as, when taught correctly, as far as the gospel message of God came into our realm as Jesus and paid the price to set the captives free. That message is so profoundly true. It should shake everybody and also give you complete hope and faith. The other thing I want to talk about in the pre-show here, Mikael, related to what I just said, I was talking to Ariana last night, and I'm going through a lot of challenges, and Father is taking care of them. But he put on my heart, we have to do something too, and that is put on the full armor of God. The helmet of salvation, the breastplate of righteousness, your loins girt about with truth, your feet shod with the preparation of gospel of peace, the shield of faith, and the sword of the Spirit. All of those are important, but the one that's most important is the breastplate of righteousness. That means get out of habitual sin. Get out of sin. Clean up your life. I did a house cleaning on myself, and there were a few loose ends. I cleaned them up, and victory came immediately. So this breastplate of righteousness is really the most important thing to focus on, because without that, if you have just 1%, just a little grain of sand of sin, you're going to be compromised. I have a cold right now, so I have to pray and see if I've got any other open doors. You got to close all these doors, and when you walk righteously, all the promises of the scriptures are open to you, and they are true. Over to you, Mikael.
Yes, there. And when I think about the breastplate of righteousness, I have a problem pronouncing that word.
Righteousness.
Rightness. It is a breastplate. Instead of having a breastplate of brass or iron, it is your righteousness in front of Jesus Christ will give you is a breastplate for the spiritual world. Because if you have leaks in your breastplate, the devil's his aim to have an opportunity to poke on you with some sword or something to get you into trouble and to get you. So that is. That's how I also view this breastplate. The righteousness will protect you from spiritual demons or spiritual attacks. Because if you have a little hole, then you'll be like, then you have a loose place where the demon can come and poke on you. Maybe not killing you, but it can make your life troublesome.
Yeah, the breastplate of righteousness is truly your barrier. You're truly your protection, and it's really important. Just a little bit on health, because you guys see me wearing blue block glasses right here. These things come off. It's hard to get back on. But let me talk about some health things with you guys real quick. Look up Jack Kruse, Kruse, and get his book, Paleo RX, and read it. To sum up the key things, and we've talked on this before, every day try to get morning sun into your eyes without glasses, without contacts, in the morning, 10 minutes, 15 minutes more if you can. And you'll know you're getting it. It's resetting your clock, because you'll want to sneeze. Open your eyes as much as you can. Don't look directly at the sun, but, get a lot of light to where it's hard to open your eyes, and you'll start to feel like you want to sneeze. That's resetting your circadian clock. morning sun every day. Number 2, 4 hours before you go to bed, wear blue blocks, some kind of blue block. These are regular blue blocks, $35, and these are prescription that you just put over your glasses. Thirdly, make sure that you're getting fish or DHA from fish oil every day, and also iodine. That's it in magnesium, but that's it in a nutshell. AM sun, evening, block the blue light, get as much sun as you can, and get some fish, a lot of fish. That's that for now. Now, the other things that I do every day, now this is not a medical disclaimer. This is not telling you what to do. This is what I do, and I'm not claiming any official medical position here. This is just my own opinion on what I do for myself. Every morning I take a shot glass with a little bit of baking soda and a little bit of, with 10 drops of food grade hydrogen peroxide, and 3 or 4 drops of Nascent iodine. Do that twice a day. Separating that from about an hour. Sometimes I'll actually do this, what I'm telling you now first. I use apple cider vinegar, a tablespoon. I use a little bit of powdered vitamin C in there, some liquid magnesium. Let's see what else. A little bit of a squeezed lemon. Oh yeah. Now this is really important, but be careful. Boron. I can't emphasize what a small amount you need. It's like a micro spoon, a minute, like a tenth of a pinch of boron. You could get borax also, but I have pharmaceutical boron. The apple cider vinegar and the boron, I believe, and I'm not claiming this to be a medical issue or statement at all, but I believe the apple cider vinegar and boron helps with healing our body from all the things we've taken in, whether it be vaccines or chemtrails or other things. And so, again, I'm not telling you to do this. This is what I do. Tablespoon of apple cider vinegar, a pinch of boron, a little bit of powdered vitamin C, and some lemon juice. And then an hour later, a shot glass with a little bit of baking soda, 10 drops of food-grade hydrogen peroxide, and 4 drops of Nascent iodine. Do that. Do those 2 things twice a day, and I believe you will be benefited from. I'll just put it that way. Mikael?
Yes, the topic of what Dr. Jack Cruz has been putting forth is true. That could be I believe he is onto something. Then I think it's very sad that he seems to believe in evolution, that he doesn't see the creation and everything. But otherwise, he has come up with very intelligent about just the sun and how the light to turn into more natural light than the artificial light that is everywhere. And that we can see with our eyes when you go out just on the street. What is the new thing to do? Has been for a long time. It is putting up LED light that they say, they are beneficial because you save money. They are cost efficiency. Well, they are horrible. Their light spectrum. They are the worst. You can find the light spectrum. That will really, deplete your vitamin A cycle. That is what happens when the blue hits your vitamin A. It depletes your vitamin A's in your eyes. That is how everything starts. Everything starts in your eyes. So when you're getting overweight, it starts in your retina, in your eyes. It is the light, and that is also something that we have been taught. It is to beware of what enters into your eyes, because that is the mirror of your soul. So be careful with it and protect it. And the sunlight, as Professor here points out so beautiful, it is not dangerous. The sunlight is the most beneficial you can find. And if you have you ladies that are listening here that believes that sunlight gives you a wrinkle, well, it is the opposite. It is the blue light from within inside that makes you wrinkle. The sun won't give you wrinkles. And over to you.
That's all true, but you have to make sure you have enough fish, the DHA from fish oil, to make, because that protects you from the harmful effects of the sun. If you don't have DHA, then you might actually get some negative effects from the sun. But people are supposed to be eating fish, supposed to be getting a healthy diet. If you do, then the sun is completely beneficial for you. I agree. But you got to have DHA. I take fish oil supplements, and I also eat a lot of fish during the week, salmon in particular. So just on that. Okay, Mikael, let's go ahead and get this show on the road here.
And my little suggestion is that we do the introduction prayer here, and then we go into the show, so we can just go into the show immediately. So for you, Professor, I will give you the room to do an introduction prayer before we get started with today's show.